Hello, everyone. I'm Carlos Silva from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, bringing you another edition of the Red Raiders post-game chat, brought to you by the Rager Dykes Auto Group. As all of you saw on ESPN2, the Red Raiders earned a 73-69 victory over Texas. It was a little hotly contested later on in that game as Texas Tech held on to a 55-54 lead, but then they were able to salt that away, even though Mo Bamba played 14 minutes, was able to get some efficient play from the big man, who's likely a NBA draft lottery pick, but Texas Tech was able to get the victory there thanks to 18 points from Keenan Evans in that second half. And then, of course, Jared Culver starting off the game, scoring 7 of his 13 total points in that game. And not only that, but during those first 5 minutes, he also had 6 rebounds. So he was very efficient from not only rebounding, but also scoring as well. So once again, for those just joining us, you can have your comments or questions right here. Bradley's somewhere around me, and we'll check out those comments, or he'll let me know when people want to talk about barbecue or anything else like that as well. But right now, for those that are just joining us, as we always do, we'll let Chris Beard kind of give us the lowdown as to what happened today.
Thanks. Just really proud and happy for our players. You know, it was 1 year ago we sat at this table and we said we were going to do everything we could in the next 364 days to put ourselves in a better position, and we've done that. And I think you got to give our players all the credit, including these 2 guys to my right, 2 of our 5 seniors that have really, had a special season, and we just don't want it to end. We want to keep playing. I just want to keep coaching these guys. I want to coach them 2 more times in Kansas City, and I want to coach them, 6 times in the NCAA tournament. So we have a lot of respect for Texas. They're a tough team. They've overcome a lot of adversity this year with Andrew and then Bamba's injury and different things, but I have a lot of respect for Shaka, and they're an NCAA tournament team, in my opinion. They have good players and a great coach. So we're pleased today to win for a lot of reasons, but our respect for Shaka and Texas is the top of that list.
Once again, that was Chris Beard of the Texas Tech men's basketball team, who are ranked number 14 in the current AP men's college basketball polls by the Associated Press. And, of course, they earned a 73-69 victory behind 25, 18 of which were scored in the second half by Keenan Evans. He was 9 of 14 from the free throw line, 7 of 10 from the field. Jared Culver, of course, I mentioned, scored the first 7 points up until he got to 13 points. And then he also finished with a double-double, 13 points, 11 rebounds, his second career double-double of his very young Texas Tech career. Of course, he's a freshman. Keenan Evans is a senior. And then they got some balanced scoring from everyone else. Zaire Smith had 8 points, 5 rebounds, and not only that, but a very important LeBron play, as he likes to call it, but was able to trail a play, got a big block on Kerwin Roach, which turned into a layup on the other end for Keenan Evans, and that turned into a 4-point swing and allowed Texas Tech to lead wire to wire. They never gave up the lead, although they did have a 55-54 lead where it looked like Texas was going to be able to take the lead there, but fortunately were able to kind of keep things going there, and then, of course, get their first victory in a conference title game since 2013, and got to the semifinal round of the Big 12 for the first time since 2005. So a lot of good things happening for Texas Tech. And speaking of good things, I know Keenan Evans had something to say about Jared Culver, so here he is.
He was doing it all. He was doing everything we needed him to do and more. We looked for him to make big shots, and that's what he did. And we looked for him to rebound down while, Tommy and Norris are, getting good box out on the Sims. They're big, so he did everything we needed him to do.
Once again, that was Keenan Evans, who scored 25 points, 18, of course, in the second half. Second time he scored double figures in the second half. Of course, he had 23 points against TCU to lead the Red Raiders to a senior day victory, and then, of course, end the regular season on a good note. Now Texas Tech is on a 2-game winning streak after defeating Texas 73-69. Of course, it's Thursday, and then, of course, for those that are kind of watching now or kind of paying attention now, West Virginia is actually leading Baylor at the moment. As we are watching, the TV just kind of turned to black, so I will tell you the score in a little bit, but the last time I checked, West Virginia was up on Baylor by double figures. So right now it looks like Texas Tech will be playing West Virginia for the 3rd time, even though they've played both teams and have split the regular season series. Both times Texas Tech beating Baylor and West Virginia at home. And then, of course, it was a tough loss for Baylor because that was where Keenan Evans actually injured his toe initially. West Virginia, of course, the second time they played him on the road, Keenan Evans did not play, Justin Gray did not play, Zach Smith did not play, just due to the quick turnaround that they had against when they played Kansas. And then they had the quick turnaround from a Saturday to a Monday, the big Monday game that they played against West Virginia in Morgantown. So let's get to some of your comments. Casey Arbuckle, Berkeley, how is Norns? I'm sure he's fine. Didn't play, and then of course with Chris Beard and the coaching staff and their athletic trainers, I'm sure they just wanted to be a little bit precautionary in terms of what Norns did. He only played 13 minutes, but he did have 2 points, 3 key rebounds. Not only that, but just was a good energy player today. I know that was one thing that Coach Beard talked about, was challenging his senior class to be the team that kind of gets to that upper echelon, which is what they did, and that was kind of what my story is if you read it in the Friday edition of the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, or of course on LubbockOnline.com or RedRaiders.com, where when they were only up 55-54, Chris Beard challenged the seniors. Keenan Evans felt that the senior class were able to hold that, or at least uphold that challenge, and were able to get that with a 73-69 victory, and of course being the first tournament win for the senior class. Not only that, but then getting the first tournament win for Texas Tech since 2013, and then of course advancing the Red Raiders to the semifinal for the first time since 2005. And now that the TV's back on, West Virginia's up 68-51, just under the 4-minute mark. So the media timeout is having it there. So it looks like at least Texas Tech should be looking forward to some, not necessarily press Virginia because they haven't been that same team with not enough athletes, but certainly should be an interesting factor with Zach Smith now in the lineup. You got a guy that can bring the ball up. He's tall, that can look over, and we'll see how that goes. But of course, we can talk about that a little bit later tomorrow in the Red Raiders pregame chat, of course, on Facebook Live, and brought to you by the Regular Dykes Auto Group. Getting back to your questions, George Morales, always fired up in La Feria, of course, Deep South. Go Red Raiders. Once again, appreciate y'all watching here. Like I said, we do this a little bit, just depends on the time. Had a lot of stuff on deadline, so I had to get all that stuff done. So sorry it took so long, but like I said, we do this for about 10 to 15 minutes. Right now, may have to end a little bit earlier because obviously interviews are going to go on once the West Virginia Baylor game goes on. But biggest thing, like I said, Keenan Evans scoring 18 points of his 25 total. And we'll let Chris Beard talk about just some of the things after the game here as well.
Yeah, I was here in 2005, working for Coach Knight, and we had some success in this tournament, played the championship game one time against Coach Sutton in Oklahoma State. So, look, when you build a program, there's going to be a lot of firsts. You got to do some things that haven't been done before. So, those are things to reflect on after the season, which we definitely will. But right now, we're just trying to stay in the moment. But I respect the question. And, again, I would just give our players all the credit. These guys have a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to do things that have never been done before at Texas Tech. And, I'm really appreciative and thankful to be a part of the ride with these players.
Once again, that was head coach Chris Beard talking about the Texas Tech men's basketball team, obviously making some history, trying to reflect on it. But one thing about Chris Beard, he doesn't try to do that in the moment. He waits for after the season to kind of look over it and, of course, enjoy the memories and kind of really relive some of the fun memories as he's done with these 5 seniors, that being Tommy Hamilton, Justin Gray, Keenan Evans, Zach Smith, and Naeem Stevenson as well, who Naeem Stevenson actually had a pretty good game, had a couple threes, had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. One of the other things, he was still aggressive, didn't have another double-figure game as he's done in 4 of the last 6 games prior to today, but the one thing you have to like is that he was very efficient from the three-point line, as I mentioned, 2 of 3, and both of those were wide-open shots just because of the way that Texas Tech was driving, along with Jared Cover, who was able to drive early on, and Tommy Hamilton making some of his threes. Overall, they were 9 of 16 from the three-point line, 56%, so you have to like that, at least in terms of starting off hot in the conference tournament. But let's see here, guns up in Kansas, so everyone's fired up. On that note, since we're at the 9-minute mark, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes, it's a little late, so obviously maybe everyone's kind of asleep or maybe they're kind of watching the other game, so we'll call this a night tonight. We'll do this again 2 hours before tip tomorrow, which of course that would be at 8 p.m. They will either play the winner between West Virginia and Baylor, and right now it looks like it's West Virginia's are up 70-54 under the 3-minute mark, so likely it'll be Texas Tech versus West Virginia in the semifinals tomorrow. First time the Red Raiders have been in the semifinals since 2005, so we'll see how that turns out. So 2 hours, 2.5 hours before, it'll be about 6 to 6:30, or pardon me, 5:30 or 6 in terms of having the Facebook live chat. But like I said, I'm Carlos Silva from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Appreciate y'all watching another edition of the Red Raiders Facebook Live post-game chat brought to you by the Regular Dykes Auto Group. If you have any questions, you can always look me up on Twitter at CM Silva Jr., at CM Silva Jr. And then, of course, you can check out all the great game photos that that Bradley Tollefson takes. He's also our great producer as well. And, of course, check out the game story in the Lubbock Avalanche Journal in Friday's edition, or check it out on LubbockOnline.com or RedRaiders.com. Once again, we appreciate you watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow.